All right, my name is Ethan. We actually have a skit to begin our presentation, but we're not going to perform today. In the skit, I play a guy named Bill. There's not any Bills in the audience, right? I don't know if they're Williams, because Bill's kind of down on his luck, and so I didn't want to ruin anybody's day. But our presentation today is based on an article by David Metzger. It's called Life Doesn't Happen to You. It's more of a psychological article, but it can be equally applied in a professional setting. And the premise of his article and the premise of our presentation is that we need to be able to control our responses to events, because there can be good things that happen to us and negative things that happen to us, whether it's at work, at home, etc. You can take this and apply it anywhere. And the beauty of it too is that it applies equally to managers as well as to like hourly employees. Nobody's immune from bad circumstances that happen to you. So we came up as a group with some specific situations that can, negatively impact you as a worker. For example, there could be a loss of staff. You could suddenly have to take on more tasks than you were accustomed to. You could have a negative relationship with a coworker or with a boss. You could have outside events that impact how well you work, like death in the family, or your favorite team just lost the World Series on Sunday, or you can kind of make up your own things that happen to you. And so Adrian actually has kind of a personal story that he'd like to share about how there was a negative event in his workplace and how it caused him to actually, his group, to perform unsatisfactorily. Right.
As Ethan explained, yes, I did experience the same thing in the work environment. We were working on a project, and we had to do a presentation, and there was a clear lack of communication, which led to like some of my slides getting deleted or people trying to take credit for my work. But that's where the communication part came in. So I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, because I let the stress get to me instead of trying to work through it, because I was thinking this from my perspective and not as my team perspective. So I let myself get frustrated. I kind of became a little resentful to some of the other team members that I felt were not pulling their weight. And overall, I let myself defeat myself and not the group. The group didn't fail me, I failed myself. And so, the end result was something far less satisfactory for the employer than I wanted to present for my team. And now I'm going to hand this over to John.
All right, so we're going to start out with the victim mentality. And you might have heard of this before. It can apply in several situations. It can mean different things. We're going to talk about it more so in the professional world. So victim mentality, first thing you usually start thinking in a victim mentality is, why is this happening to me? And of course, things don't happen to you, they happen through you, but you start to think, well, why me? Why not the guy next to me? Why not, I'm already going through all of this, why is this happening to me now? Another thing that comes up is you start to think things are impossible, that you can't do them. And you also start to think that it's not fair. Again, you start comparing yourself. Why does he get all the breaks? Why does she get all the breaks? And then lastly, of course, when it rains, it pours. So every little thing that starts to happen in whether it's your professional career or your home life starts to become a negative impact. Something as simple as maybe taking the dogs out now becomes another task that is just adding to the stress and overwhelmness that you are consumed by. Next, we're going to go over some effects of the victim mentality. So you are what you think. If you've heard of the phrase, you are what you eat, well, this is the same thing, except mentally. Sense of powerlessness. You start to feel like, I can't do this, there's nothing I can do, this is just fate, I'm just meant to be miserable. Closed-mindedness. You start to have tunnel vision, so to speak, and you don't think about your resources and your help that you have around you. Overreaction. This is something that would be exemplified in our skit, but when you start to have stress and it consumes you, you start to do things that affect other people, such as maybe your family or maybe even your boss or coworkers, that you wouldn't normally do in that situation. And then the last one is loss of awareness. Again, speaking to you stop, you stop, finding help. You stop seeking resources, and of course that just ultimately leads to failure. So, next, I'm going to hand it off to Nan, and she's going to go over the ways that you can prevent these negative effects.
Hi, my name is Nan, and I know it's hard to find silver lining whenever you're super stressful, but like John said, instead of thinking it's happening to you, you can think it's happening through you. Instead of questioning yourself, question why is this happening to me? This is so unfair. Then take your lesson from the mistake that you made. Like think about I into we. What can we learn together as a group? Don't think it's as about yourself as an individual, but think about everybody around you. How does this benefit everyone? And how can you ask for help? How do you make yourself a way out of this situation? The next time I'm talking about how you're going to own it. The way you view things happening around you is really affecting you on how you handle things. If you need to know that you cannot control the situation, but what you can do is you can adapt yourself into the situation. Therefore, it's going to open to many possibilities. It's also evaluate your awareness. You won't of course, you don't want to make the same mistake that you made before anymore, and you get the control of how should you feel and how you handle the situation. And now I'm going to hand it to Lee, and he's going to tell you about his personal story about the positive experience he had.
Yeah, this would be where our website page would go. Around this time a year ago, I worked at a sushi restaurant called Kura. And even though it might not be in a very professional setting, I feel like it could still apply to those work environments. I remember there were nights where the shift would feel very overwhelming. There was a lot of stress and burden on my shoulders. But over time, it was something that I had to adapt to. On my very first Saturday night shift, and if you ever work in a restaurant business, you understand how busy and hectic those nights could get. And essentially, we had a missing member in our staff, and a lot of the responsibilities and the burden was placed on me. I end up looking at the situation as why is it happening to me? Why am I dealing with all these things? And it kind of felt like the world was against me, and I kind of let that affect my performance at that night. But later that night, I kind of came to a realization that I needed to do more, and I needed to really adapt and change to this. I looked at it in a way I was oh, what if I kind of switched up a bit instead of depending on myself alone? I started asking for help from my coworkers. They were very happy to help me, especially since they were experienced. After I received help from them, I started to better understand that while doing so, the overall performance of the restaurant would go up, and the restaurant performance started slowing down. And through that, I also learned that by asking for help, it really brings together the bigger picture of why you shouldn't think it's only about you, and why that it's not how you can see it as only your problem. And we discussed earlier, I saw it as something through me and not only on me. And with that being said, I learned a lot of lessons that night, and I now have a better understanding of how I should release that victim mentality, and how I should find more ways to really alleviate that stress.